Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I just have kind of like more of a personal kind of video that I wanted to make. I've been kind of leaning towards making videos that are a little bit more personal in nature, almost like a sort of video diary type of vibe. Let me know if you like them and I'll keep doing them. I do feel like that element is missing on my channel of just kind of having more of a personal kind of touch. So today I wanted to talk about something that has happened a couple times, and that is when I have a family member reach out and say that they miss me or they want to see me, that kind of thing. Doesn't happen often. And also, just as a little bit of background, I have family. My parents are from Mexico. We live here in Southern California, but I do have family that is still in Mexico. And so we don't see that family often, obviously, because we live in different countries. But I have seen them and I have spent time with them. I've spent weeks in Mexico with them. And so, we do have some kind of a relationship together. So, over the last few years that I've been sick, obviously I have not taken any trips to Mexico. I actually don't really see any family that is not here in Southern California and that can't, come visit here. Um, so it's been years, decades since I've seen any family that's in a different country or even in a different state. And so I have several cousins in Mexico. I have an aunt and some cousins in the capital, and then I have an uncle and some more cousins in another state in Mexico. And I've had two cousins that live in the capital that have just randomly, and I don't really know what it is that sparks this weird. I don't know if it's like nostalgia or the holidays or something, or just something that they're going through that kind of sparks this weird, sentimentalness in them. But on separate occasions, and these two situations happened many years apart, they've reached out and they've said, we miss you. When are you coming to see us? And my knee jerk reaction, or my knee jerk kind of feeling, is kind of angry. I usually don't respond, or I'll just, you know, I'll tap their comment and give it a little heart, because they usually message me through like Instagram or Facebook or something, or I'll send like a little, something, say hi to my godparents for me or something like that. But I do get this sort of little bit of anger. That's my initial response. I don't say anything to them. That's just my feeling. And then it kind of turns to sadness. Like this last time that this happened, it actually did turn into a bit of sadness. And I don't know what to say. I never know how to respond. I assume that they know that I'm sick, but I myself would never tell them, hey, when am I going to see you guys? When am I going to see my godparents? Knowing that both of my godparents are very elderly. One of them is pretty much incapacitated at this point. I mean, they're both basically incapacitated. They can't travel. They can't, one of them can't walk. The other one, they're like in their 80s. And I would never tell them like, oh, when are you going to bring them? When are we going to see them? Even though they have come here within the last 6 or 7 years. But I know what the situation is. I know that they're elderly. I know that they're not well enough to travel, apart from being in the middle of a pandemic. So I kind of don't understand this, like where they're coming from. I understand that they miss me. Not that we're like that extremely close, but there's something that rubs me the wrong way about that situation, about them reaching out to me, knowing that there's something going on. I can't say, there's no way that they don't know, but I know that they don't know the whole story. And that I should probably make an entire video on that. Here in my family, we don't really discuss my illness. Any discussion about my illness is quickly quieted. If I have anybody in my immediate family, like, my brother's mother-in-law will usually, like, when I see her, she'll be like, oh, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And, my mom will usually step into the conversation and switch it and just change it into something else. I've actually noticed the last few times I've seen her, she doesn't ask anymore. So I know that whatever information they're receiving in Mexico regarding my medical status is probably not accurate, or it's non-existent. I don't think they really know what's going on. I do think they know that there's something going on, but they probably don't think that it's anything really serious, or just because they really don't know anything, they're just assuming there's nothing going on. I did have a moment this time, this most recent, because this actually just happened last night. By the time this video goes up, I don't know, but this situation happened last night. And I do get tempted sometimes to say, look, I'm really sick and I can't travel. I can't leave the country. Like, there's no way that this is going to happen anytime soon. But another part of me knows that there's this mentality that circulates in my family that illness really isn't a big deal. Like, it's just something that does not exist unless it happens to you, right? Being elderly is a thing, being diabetic is a thing, being overweight is a thing, but anything outside of that, even those things are treated as not that big of a deal. And so this, for me to speak up and to say, hey, look, I'm very sick and I can't travel, or I have, these are my symptoms, whatever. I do get the feeling that it's just going to be dismissed, that they're going to say, well, oh, we'll cook your special food, or, we'll accommodate you however we can. And it's like, you can't, like, there really is no way to accommodate the issues that I have, apart from the danger of traveling in an airplane, being in a different city, a city with high pollution, for example, Mexico City. I got sick when I went there years ago and I was in perfect health. There's no way that I would survive that now. So I kind of feel like it's futile. I don't know how to pronounce that, to actually say anything or to actually try to explain myself. Because I do feel, even though, my family in Mexico is not as ignorant as the family that I have here in the States. They are much more educated. They are much more, I want to say, progressive and open-minded, but considering the level of ignorance that we were all raised with, that's kind of not really saying much in a way. I do think people are set in their ways, especially older people. My cousins are much older than I am. And also because they've never experienced something like this. I'm sure they have their own health issues, and all of that, but they've never gone through something like this. They've never had a chronic condition that has affected every aspect of their lives. So I think this is one of those situations where it's like, pick your battles, right? I also am learning that there may be some people in the family that I can talk to and that I can possibly reason with, and not reason with, but that may understand, because I do have other family in Mexico. My other cousins that live in a different state, their father is also very sick. He actually was in the hospital, I think last month. They seem to, I think, comprehend chronic illness a little bit better because their father has been chronically ill for many, many years. I think a couple decades at this point. He has complications from radiation for cancer. And so I think they sort of might get it more. I haven't gotten messages from them saying, like, we miss you. When are you going to come and see us? That kind of thing. they'll message me if they, if I post something, funny or something on Instagram, but they won't message me saying those kinds of things. I think they understand the lack of sensitivity. And I'm not saying that my other cousins are insensitive. I just don't think they really understand sort of what a chronic condition is. They understand what being elderly is. They understand, physical injuries because their father has a physical injury, but I think it's just a different mentality altogether. I think some people have gone through hardships and they deal with them and they know what that's like. And I'm not saying that they haven't gone through anything like that, but they're just kind of this, like, they're very kind of happy-go-lucky, good times all the time, that they're those kinds of people. They're not ignorant, but they're also, I think, very happy people. And I get the vibe that they are sort of like the toxic positivity type of people. They're not going to let things get you down. And it's like, I understand that. And sometimes that's a good attitude to have. They are very fun to be with. They're really great. They're fun. They're, like I said, they're very happy-go-lucky. But there is sort of a time and place. And I think when people are sick and when people are suffering, there has to be some understanding of that. There has to be some sympathy and kind of handling those people with a little bit more care and a little bit more sensitivity. And they're not insensitive. They just, I think, really don't get it. And obviously the lack of information that they have regarding my situation also makes it that much worse. Like I said, my other cousins, my other set of cousins that are actually a little bit closer in age to me, I think because of what they've had to suffer through with their father. And also, I think they tend to be a little bit more sentimental in a different way. I think they sort of understand that there is something going on and that they don't fully understand, that they don't have the full picture. But I think my question here is what would you do? Has this happened to you? Have you had family members that are not necessarily close but not necessarily estranged from you? Have you had them reach out and say, "Hey, we miss you. When are you going to come see us? We can't wait to have you here." Granted, I think it is a little bit different, if you all live in the same country. I mean, chronic illness keeps you from going anywhere but being in the same country might facilitate that, or they can even come and see you a lot easier. But what do you say to that? That was my big thing. What do I say to that? And also to this, it brings a lot of other emotions up because of the secretive nature of my illness, which I think I should make another video about that, detailing why my illness is such a weird situation. But I do. This was the first time that I was like, I just want to tell them everything. But I also kind of had to think to myself, is this the person that I could talk to? Is this the person that I could say things to without worrying about there being any serious consequences? And sometimes you have to gauge that. You have to really gauge that situation and ask yourself, is this someone, not is this someone I can trust, because I know that I can trust them. They're not bad people. But is this someone that is going to accept the information I present with sensitivity? Are they going to seriously consider what I tell them? Or are they just going to say, look, we'll figure it out. We'll do this. We can do this. We can get this done. So I think a lot of times you have to really gauge it. You have to really, like, from what you know about this particular family member, are we that close? Would they seem receptive to accepting this information, to processing this information? Or is it just going to be like, hey, let's just have a good time. Because there are those people, and there are those people everywhere, not just in our families. I've met, there are people that just are like good times all the time. Like, I don't want to hear the sad stuff. I don't want to hear a sad story. There are no sad stories. We're going to live our best life. Even though you're sick, we're going to do this. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't necessarily, you can't do that with all illnesses. Maybe with some illnesses you can push through, but you can't do that all the time. And it's a really complicated situation. So I want to know, leave down in the comments, what would you do? What would you have said in my situation if your cousin's reaching out and saying, look, we miss you, this whole thing. Does it make you mad? Does it make you sad? Does it make you, what do you feel when that kind of thing happens? Let me know. Please also like and subscribe. Let me know if there's any other videos you'd like me to make. If you like this kind of style of video that's a little bit more personal, more of a like diary type of video, kind of like a stream of consciousness, if you will, let me know. So I'll keep making videos. I'll keep coming up with stuff like this because it's kind of fun. It helps me, So yeah, I'll see you guys again soon. Take care.